What do Joseph suffering in Romans 8:28 teach us about trusting in God? When life feels painful or confusing, is God still working behind the scenes? Welcome to the Bald Men Bold Free podcast with Thomas and Jeromie, two regular guys discussing life, everyday struggles, and a path to getting closer to Jesus. Today in episode 8, we're talking about trusting God when life doesn't make sense, how all things can work together for good, and what Joseph's story teaches us about faith through hard seasons. If there's a devotional you'd like us to cover, just throw it in the comments. And if you'd like to join us live on the Bible app, email your Bible app user ID to baldmenboldfaith@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, hype, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so I guess the new way to travel is you buy a plane ticket because most of them have connecting flights. So let's say I want to go to Houston. I could buy a flight to St. Louis because it's cheaper for whatever reason. And then I connect in Houston and I just leave the airport in Houston. So I guess because there's ways with connecting flights to make them a little bit cheaper than direct flights. So instead of doing a direct flight to Houston, which is more expensive, to do a connecting flight to St. Louis.
Huh. Interesting.
The prom turned out pretty cool. I mean, seeing Brendan all dressed up and fancy like that, I sent you that picture, but he looked like a little man, right?
That's cool. So what did he do? What was the whole thing? Did they do the limo and stuff like that? Do it with friends?
Someone's grandma let them drive the Porsche, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, man, my dad drove me.
Seeing the videos online of just like these outlandish things that people will do, massive statements and walking out with stacks of money, and you know what I mean, like the flex stuff. It seems so ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Prom is always a weird feeling. This is my first prom with my son. With my daughter, it's obviously, maybe it shouldn't be, but it's still more of a weird feeling, right? Because you're like, my boys will be all right. My daughter is out there at 2 a.m, but as I know, boys typically make bigger mistakes than daughters and stuff like that.
But you wind up feeling less worried about the boys though, for whatever reason.
Very true. So what's up with you, man? How's the family?
Did like a photo shoot with Sophia for her senior pictures over the weekend. They came out great.
Oh, you did the photos?
Yeah, I did them. But
Nice.
We've been meaning to do it, having her get something that she wanted to wear for it, so we could do it and put something in the yearbook. Yeah, I wanted to do the photo shoot myself. It came out awesome. Going through that and you feel all the emotions as they get older. Doing that, I've been like editing those pictures this week, and then at the church they're going to do this thing where they pray over the seniors on Sunday, and so they told all the families to write a letter to your senior that you're going to give to them. So I've been doing that also. So like looking at these old pictures of her and the new pictures of her as a young lady, and then writing an emotional letter. So been a good week with that thing anyway.
That's so cool. It always trips me out because your attention to detail and very on the very logical side of things, but you're also very creative. You got you've been doing photography. I mean, even in custom cabinetry back in the old school days, I feel like there's a ton of creativity in that as well. And so even in doing patios and yards and stuff. But big tough construction guy, but you got so much creativity too.
Yeah, definitely have a creative, artsy side for sure.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for you to have a blue wig and to be like, you come home, Christy, I'm home, big old blue beard, a purple beard, in the nose ring with that bull ring.
Yeah, you can't have blue hair without the bull ring or whatever, the Brahma ring, whatever they call that middle one.
Yeah.
Dude, I did my first BJJ class yesterday. Jiu-jitsu.
What's BJJ stand for?
Brazilian Jiu-jitsu.
Oh, Brazilian Jiu-jitsu. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
Yeah. I got a friend
from the
house church that goes. So he was telling me that he goes to the one school that he goes to, and he does these like lunchtime. He goes always at lunchtime a couple times a week, and was saying that it's a good group of guys that are all more, our age. So I had told him something I've been like super interested in, but I also get like tendon issues pretty easily from overuse, and I'm a little bit worried about somebody cranking on my arm, and then I got tennis elbow for 9 months. That stuff just takes so long to heal. So that's been like the big thing. So everybody's really good in this group that I go with. So it took a few weeks to actually make it work out. And then so I scheduled it in for yesterday. It was awesome. I had fun. Like I was laughing the whole time. If you ever watch back videos of us doing, mountain biking and stuff like that, when I run a GoPro, then you'd notice that when I do things that I'm getting like a rush from, but I also enjoy it, that I just giggle like the whole time also. So I was giggling and laughing and smiling like the whole time, to the point where at the end, I even talked to the leader guy. I'm like, I hope it wasn't disrespectful. I mean, I was having so much fun though, it would be somebody's like choking you out with your gi, and I'm just like laughing so hard after. I think that's so cool. What a cool thing to just control somebody like that. And then you get to try it out. I mean, I had a blast. It was a good workout too. I was just drenched with sweat by the end of it. Had fun.
That's so cool, man. That's gonna be so awesome. You're gonna your flexibility is gonna probably double, I'm guessing, over the course of the next, if you do it for a year straight. I imagine your flexibility was get extreme.
Debating on it, I would very much like to do that one. It's cool. Got a friend that goes there, and guys our age. It was like 25 minutes away. I mean, really, middle of the day, a couple times a week. That's like a 2 hour block. I don't know how well that fits in. So I think I'm gonna have to probably try out a couple that are closer by, a nighttime class or something, and see if it's something that I feel like I can actually fit in. But I was surprised with the level of cardio that you get from it, so I feel like I could just change out whatever my zone 2 days are for jogging, that just could do that instead, keep at the same kind of fitness level. It's just a different level. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I could see why that would be addictive. It was fun, and you're struggling, like you can't think of anything else. Very different, with jogging, which I love also, but jogging, I will listen to a book or turn it off and just think and pray while I'm running, because you've got nothing to do but just have that time and let your mind wander. When you're jogging, right? It's pretty simple otherwise. So you're taking in the surroundings or taking in a book or whatever, but the movements, the mechanics of it are so simple that you're not thinking about what you're doing. Doing the thing yesterday though, like doing that, you can't think of anything but what you're doing, because somebody's either trying to choke you or you're trying to reach around and choke them and struggle your way out of something. It is so locked in, like in the completely opposite way, that it's like good stress reliever in the totally opposite way. You can't think of anything else if you are focused on not being choked.
That'll do it.
I mean, that's like, it's maximum focus. That's pretty cool.
It's almost like meditation if you think about it. Because you're right. Yeah. You have to be completely focused. I mean, I guess that's not all sports, but sports that have a lot of action, I'm sure it's the same feeling. I mean, baseball, like when you're in the batter's box, you're fully concentrating on that pitch coming. You don't think about anything else. Now, when you're sitting in the outfield waiting for someone to hit the ball, your mind wanders. But when you're in the batter's box, it's pure concentration, at least if you want to be successful.
Yeah, it forces you to be in the zone.
I never really thought about it that way. I think now that you say it that way, I'm wondering like how many tasks or how many things I do where I have to fully concentrate and my mind can't wander. I'd have to say not too many at the moment. So yeah, wow, I bet you that is. I can see how that's a huge stress relief.
Yeah, it's cathartic. It was enjoyable, but there's that aspect to it too, where you're 100% locked in. Like you don't have to be intentional about that at all. It just happens. You're trying to concentrate on that thing that you were just trying to repeat the thing that you were just taught, or escape the choke from somebody else. So that's pretty cool. You can see where that would get, where you just get fully addicted to it, want to do it most days. It's the only thing I can think of is maybe on downhill on mountain bike, That's one of those things where you don't have to intentionally lock in, right? You don't have to think about it. Okay, now I really need to focus. Once you start going downhill, you're just focused, right? You don't want to go over the bars. So you're just locked into your to your path and feeling the bike going into the corners and stuff. It just happens automatically because you have to focus on it. If you're trying to think about something you were mad at your wife about while you were bombing downhill, then you're probably going to go off the edge of something. I can't believe she said that.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I can see that downhill for sure. That's something you're right that I do. That's the one thing you concentrate on for sure. Yeah, I've been trying to alleviate some of my fear coming downhill because I feel like I have too much fear and stuff too. I'm speed checking too much and stuff that it ends up making me fall off my bike more than if I think I just went all the way through because I'm too cautious when I'm coming around some of the turns. And I've really been trying to focus on letting myself go a little bit. I'm thinking about getting like a full face helmet. I mean, although mostly what we do is climb uphill, and what a pain in the butt to have a full face helmet when you're climbing up a hill. But then when you're going downhill, I just feel like it'll probably make me a little bit more confident. But it's not a good or bad thing.
I can see that. Yeah, that idea of like finding that flow, the flow state that's where you just feel good, you just feel it instead of being too worried about it. And when you're too worried about it, then you hit the brakes at the wrong time and just slide out.
Which has happened a few times.
Yeah, yeah. I miss riding a lot. Got such beautiful trails out here, but since there's really no downhill, if you're riding it all flat, it can be pretty technical and there's tons of roots and stuff. So it's difficult, but you don't have that same reward that you get out there. You're climbing hard and then you get bombed downhill and just get completely locked in and get the roller coaster kind of feeling and then go repeat and rinse and repeat. Out here it's more like it's beautiful trails and that's great. And there's a bunch of like switchbacks and stuff that you can kind of cut the trees, but you're only picking up speed because you're cranking the pedals.
It's that flat, huh?
Yeah, dude, it's flat out here. I can, you know, I jogged in the forest. I did like trail run in the forest over the weekend, and see, look at my Strava. But, I mean, I feel like in a 5 mile jog that's going through the forest all over, I will have 80 feet of elevation.
Wow.
It's combined with the entire 5 mile jog, where you go out there, you do 5 miles in the hills out there, and you're gonna have 800 feet of elevation gain, and have trouble doing 5 miles because of all the steep inclines.
Now, can you tell me that there is a place within driving distance that you can go to?
There is. And I'd love to get up there. It's probably 3 hours away. So it'd be like driving to Big Bear, maybe. The one that's
Yeah,
called Spider Mountain. Yeah,
I'd be interested.
we're like 3 or 4 hours away from the whole hill country area, which we still haven't spent any time in. We'll probably go out there for our anniversary this year. It's like the wine country. It's like the Napa Valley of Texas. Beautiful area. That's all these hills, and I mean, it's just gorgeous area. Bunch of wineries and stuff, and little small town vibes.
That'd be
So
cool.
wine country with my wife out there before I go out there solo to do a mountain bike ride.
You're like, hey, we're going to wine country for our anniversary. She's like, why are you bringing the bike? Oh, you never know, just in case.
That might be romantic. We'd ride the bike up Main Street together. Just if it was there only one bike. It's our
It's funny.
anniversary. Put you on the handlebars. It's gonna be so romantic. Like, there's a mountain out here that I'll be back in a couple of hours.
Make that 3 hours.
Wow, wait a minute. 4 hours. Wow, wait a minute. Just by yourself.
Yeah. But it's funny how I kind of think that way. And I'm gonna go do a weekend in Santa Barbara, and I'm like, okay, if I bring my bodyboard, I can get up early enough. While she's still sleeping. Go out to the ocean, bodyboard for a couple hours, get back right when she's waking up. So it's still this romantic getaway. I have a feeling it's not going to work out that way, but that's the plan. I think I was telling you like about when we were talking before about Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I would love to do that, but I just don't know where the time is. I don't know. I feel like even last night, I got home from work, cooked dinner for the family, and my was messing around with the videos a little bit. And you could just, I feel like I could see the clock ticking. And I'm like, every minute I up, I'm going to be more tired in the morning. I just feel, I can feel the clock ticking. Like, I don't know. I feel like, I wish we could be like when we were young boys and you felt like a day was forever. Remember that?
It's not anymore. So crazy too how that changes, right? It goes from when you're a child and you're like 2 weeks is forever. I can't wait 2 weeks. And now as an adult, you're like, yeah, in a couple of weeks, it'll be here before you know it. So let's just push that off a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. Or it's in the other, oh my gosh, that's only 2 weeks from now. How am I going to be ready? Think about that change in perspective. It's pretty wild.
Dude, when the kids are like old, so they start becoming self-sufficient, we're going to be like ripped, spend so much more time at the gym and working out, trying to fill that space that was occupied by them for so many years. Yeah. Like with Kaden, I mean, she's getting an apartment. She's getting an apartment in San Jose. She's looking for a job. And I'm just like, no, I didn't want you to be that successful. I still wanted you to have to come home for the summers.
That's
But
big.
yeah. Yeah. I identified with my family for so long. Just getting up. Like you and I are the same. And my day is structured around them. I get up in the morning. I go to the gym. I come home. I prepare a protein shake for Brennan. I make peanut butter jelly for Ophelia. I prepare their stuff for the day. I will make a breakfast if it's like a weekend or something. Then and then I have my little space in between, and then I start preparing for dinner. And our days are completely occupied by our family. When I'm an empty nester, it's going to be really weird.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think I've already shifted enough where I'm not looking forward to being an empty nester. I like their presence, but I think that at least like the time amount occupied is good there. Got enough things going on, Feel like that transition has already been kind of slow. You know what I mean? Sophia's already driving herself stuff. Once Nate's driving himself to places, there's not going to be a whole lot of need for involvement on my end. But yeah, I'm still not looking forward to the empty nester part where they're gone. I like their presence a lot. I just do. I enjoy talking with them, being with them.
That's exactly what I told Kaden. I'm like, I don't want you to do this job. I want you to come home for the summer.
Mhm.
But that doesn't sound very father-like.
No.
It should be, yeah, you got to get your crew for some of this stuff. Let's go. But yeah, there's two sides to it, I guess.
Yeah, what's good for them and what you feel like doing, but then there's just what's actually good and the right thing.
Yeah, it's tough. I just told her, you know what? If you're gonna be away from home, please make it a job that's gonna perpetuate your goals. Don't become like a burger flipper. Not that there's anything wrong with a burger flipper, but I give you enough money to make up for that. Now, if it's like I'm working at the hospital and I'm a scribe and something that's perpetuating your career, but I mean, ultimately, that's the bad thing about being an adult is you got your own path, whatever that path entails. Because working at Taco Bell, still work experience, and you're still learning how to deal with people and coworkers and all that stuff. The selfishness in me wanting her to be here.
Yeah, I think there's value even in any of those jobs just because dealing with the public directly is, I mean, there's something to that. If you're going to be a nurse or whatever you're going to be in your future career, just learning how to handle like stress and unruly people is there's a big value in it. I always
Yeah,
feel like those like fast food jobs seem to me, I never had one, but I'm always looking at everybody running around, or you want a Starbucks and look at everybody running around so fast. And like, that seems more stressful than what I do.
I would. I would rather mix mud for a drywaller any day of the week. Do that, but
Oh
that's
yeah.
just me.
I think they're learning an important skill there,
Yeah.
learning how to be fast paced and deal with people and deal with different attitudes and
Upset customers.
customers, calm people down.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. All right, man. Well, let's see.
Let's
Let's take a
jump
look.
into our
Yeah,
Devo.
let me share my screen here. So this devotional is "All Things Work Together" by Cody Griggs. I liked it. It was a nice little short one, but I felt like it was pretty impactful. On day one, I guess kind of what stuck out to me a little bit was this one is you and I kind of talked about this before, But the problem also lies in our short-sighted vision, our tendency to look only at temporary things and not fix our eyes on eternity. And there's that question, why does God allow bad things to happen? And I've kind of touched base on this before, where I've kind of said, like, our lives are just like a small little glimmer in eternity. So to God, our lives are very short, because he sees, when he has puts an obstacle or something like that in front of us, he to us it's like everything, right? We're like, oh my goodness, why is this happening to us? But to God, it's a small glimpse in eternity. And if we think of infinity, that small glimpse just gets smaller and smaller once you go infinity in there. So I feel like, as human beings, though it's not, it's much easier said than done, we are short-sighted. We say, why is my life messed up today? What's this happening to me right now? Instead of looking at how God looks at things, and that's looking at him in eternity.
So I was working with this kind of Romans 8:28 for a whole previous week too. That's why I picked this one. There's a great sermon at church about it. That one Sunday that I had told you about. I think it was that one. At any rate, 2 weeks ago, he was really talking about like how God is working, even using the lyrics of that song. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. He was talking about that in suffering, how God's working through that, and I felt inspired by that to put that in business terms. And so last Friday at our Bible study that we've been doing with the business people, I was sharing it with those guys based on this verse, but more in the business context, in how, shared this story that will keep much briefer, but in the very beginning of our business, how this thing was like this big thing happened, and it was like, why is this happening? This is devastating, and we're working through something. But then 5 or 6 years later, what that terrible event that we were struggling through wound up building out like all the right systems and legal documents and stuff that protected us, 5 or 6 years later in business. So I think God was working through that situation, as much as we didn't feel close to him, certainly didn't see God in it at the time. I was just stressed out and worried. And, you feel distant from God in that, because, yeah, why is this thing happening to me? And then hopefully sometime in the future, then you see why he was doing that. In a lot of cases, you'll see that, oh, God was putting these things together and it was preparing me for this thing now, 5 years later or 20 years later, or whatever that is. Sometimes
Yeah,
that might be like planting the seed, that someone else will enjoy the shade of that tree, long after you're gone. But one way or another, God is working through all those things, and it's pretty crazy to think about that. To your point, that's an eternal view. It's pretty
yeah,
hard to understand sometimes, or hard to think about that while you're going through sufferings. But
yeah. When you're in the grind, when it's like affecting you, or even worse, it's affecting people you love. It's hard to imagine. I mean, I've done it. God, why are we going through this? And having that superpower faith means that you're going to realize that whatever it is going to be revealed to us. And some of it, you don't get the answer right away. Some of it, the bad thing just happens, and you just don't know why. And you have to, you have to kind of just power through it and keep that faith, which, like I said, sometimes it's easier said than done.
sure.
It's-
So how good is this for in like with using that as the basis of that, right? I like just even that statement, all things are 8:28. It's a good way to remember the verse. Think about the life of Joseph. It is impossible at the time that you're being sold into slavery by your family to think that this is going to work out for good at some point. And then you wind up having, this, and then you do see some things. Oh, this is actually working out in my favor. That really stunk with the family, but I'm doing pretty good now. And then boom, you're thrown into prison. Seriously, God, where are you in this? And then eventually, right? Eventually, then it all works out, not only for his own good, but for his entire family's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the story of Joseph has always inspired me so much. I mean, it has everything. It's jam packed with jealousy, murderous thoughts, and famine, and even poor Joseph being antagonized by that guy's wife. I mean, it was like the guy went through so much, and he still stays strong. Even so much when he goes to prison, he ends up becoming the leader of the prison. What? Really, I love this part here. He says, as much as it might relate to Joseph, there's a very stark difference between the two. The difference is this: Joseph didn't have access to the New Testament. Joseph didn't have encouraging scriptures like Romans 8:28. Joseph couldn't recite the verse. And it still blows me away, bro, that we have the New Testament. Heck, we even have the Old Testament to help guide us. Back in the but Joseph didn't have any of that. I mean, they had to go with just raw interactions with God, figuring it all out.
They have these stories working through the book of Daniel and in house church, and that's that same thing, where he's holding strong to his faith and be in good integrity. But yeah, you go back to this, he didn't actually have the New Testament to reference. He didn't have the book of Daniel to reference because it's about his life. He didn't know that God was there in somebody, to protect them from the fire and to shut the mouths of the lions, because that was happening in real time for him.
I don't know what I question you. Where would I be if I had no Bible and no church? It was just God, me, God. I don't know. I don't know how good of an outcome that would be.
If you didn't have these books and you're Joseph, I think that you're kind of losing faith the moment that you get thrown in a pit by your brothers and then sold into slavery, right? You've got no other books to reference, basically. So you're just like, this stinks. I don't think that all this prayer stuff works. You just got sold by my own brothers. Where do you go from there? What's the draw you back in?
It's not to sidetrack us too much, but it's trippy how there's always the issue with siblings. Like even Cain and Abel. And then Joseph and his brothers, like it's just like a history of sibling jealousy and what goes on. I don't know. It's like completely different than what I'm used to. I mean, my brother and I will fight, but whenever I try to murder each other.
Yeah, that's a whole different level. Yeah, our kids are just like, don't call them a loser. That's mean. Joseph's parents were like, stop selling your brothers into slavery.
Are you trying to sell your brother into slavery again today?
I told you last time not to murder each other. For goodness sake. You're really going to be in trouble.
That's so funny. Okay.
3, the blueprint.
Sorry, it just takes me a minute to get there. All right. The blueprint. Let's get a common theme in the devotionals that we've been doing lately is really starting to see certain things from a different light. On this day specifically, the one that kind of stuck out to me was thinking of God as an original designer, meaning like it says, this is significant because you reweave something. The first thing you must do is to go back to the original design. We can take comfort in this. When God reweaves your life, you are in the hands of the manufacturer. You're in the hands of the one who designed you. And it kind of stuck out to me because he created us. The Bible clearly says that he knew us when we were in our mom's womb even. When eventually, God willing, when as human beings we come back to God and we ask him to reweave us, we're asking the person who originally designed us. So who better to do that task? It just kind of blew me away.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I dig it too that they put that in that how that word could also be interpreted to weave.
Oh yeah.
Little nuances like that are really interesting as you go through the Bible. That sometimes, many times rather, you realize that there is so much like nuance in the small things that you really could spend a long time on very small sections.
Oh yeah. Pastor at church, they'll do a sermon on like a chapter, one chapter. It's a 4-month series. I mean, you could really dig deep. And it's funny because I've I've heard Christians battle over translations of the Bible. This one's more accurate, this one isn't. So it's funny because, yes, we have the Bible, but even the translations, people have doubt in sometimes. And so you still really have to rely on God to give you that discerning voice. When you're reading the word, you're reading certain translations, and also even at church, the pastor is just another human being. So you still have to rely on God for guidance, even though you have these tools. All right. 4. So day 4, together is a key. I like how he kind of tricked you there. And he said, and we know that for those who love God, all things work for the good, for those who are called according to his purpose. So it's funny how he took out the word together, right? And I also loved how I loved his cake analogy. So he says Romans 8:28 is not telling us that all things are good. It's not telling us that all things will work out for good. The promise is simple. All things work together for good. And then he used the cake analogy where like it obviously eating a homemade lemon cake is amazing, but if you took those same ingredients and you spread them out on the table, kind of disgusting. God literally is taking all the stuff, the good stuff, the bad stuff, whatever is happening in your life, and he's putting it all together and making the cake.
It really is. It's very well written when you think about it like that. So those are just all your individual experiences, and no, they're not all good, but they worked together for good, and that's only because you picked up this thing from this very difficult situation, and that thing worked with this really good situation, and I'm just all these different experiences all come together sometimes, whether that's for building a character in who you are, or building up resilience, building your leadership style, the things that you want to be as a dad. You've got these tough experiences and good experiences. You want to make sure that that you kind of mash those all together in the right way. It's the perfect analogy.
Absolutely.
You think about some, I don't know, terrible experience or a fight that you were in or something. You don't want that specific thing for your child, but it was important to you because that, coupled with something else, allowed you to explain to them a good way to resolve conflict that doesn't get them punched in the face. Stay away. I don't know, like, but so it was important for you and I then to be punched in the face at that time, because then we were able to bring a different level of conflict resolution to the kids. Not as good as a analogy, but nevertheless,
No, it's perfect,
yeah,
actually.
bad experiences, and then God is working. God is always working. That's what it comes down to.
And if you think about it this way, let's say that sugar is the positive experiences in your life. If you just had a cake of sugar, it would taste disgusting. You got to throw some butter in there, got to throw some flour in there. So even as a dad, letting our kids experience their own obstacles and praying that the consequences are a learning experience, not something really devastating, but letting them have their own experiences. That's how you get all the different ingredients together to make the cake that actually tastes good. All right, brother.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Lord, we are so thankful that we live in a time that we've got these stories that we can reflect back on and see examples of people that held their faith and held integrity throughout their lives while they were going through tough situations, and how you were able to put that together for good in the end. We pray that we are able to use those experiences, those things that we can read about in the Bible, and apply that to our own lives, see the things that were difficult at the time, and be able to realize how important that was to our character now, or the way that we handle situations now. And we pray, God, that because we see that so often, so many times in our own lives, that we're able to walk through the next struggle differently, to be able to feel your hand, hold your hand as we go through that, knowing that you're guiding us, that you're with us at every single moment, knowing that everything you do works together for good, that it's all for a reason for us. God, we are in awe of the way that you can build and plan and to do things for our good. God, we pray that all the sufferings and tough situations that any of our family is going through at any given moment, that God, that you're working in those, and to pray that we're able to help our families see that you're with us in those. We pray for that we are more excited and happy about the joyous moments, because we have that balance to see when we're in the highs and know that the lows won't be that low. God, we are thankful for that. Thankful for your word. Thank you for this time that we're able to get together and study it. Pray that we go into this week differently, and just have all of that stuff in mind. Protect our kids and let us lead our families with you first. In Jesus' wonderful name,